I call this the boner.
Gov seeks boner, hard and firm. All right. I love going into the history books for some Gov seeks. And I found this one. I wasn't aware of this. I was aware that this happened, but I didn't know the exact name of it. Another great operation from our friends over at the CIA. And it sounds fun. Operation Bloodstone.
Oh, wow. I don't know that one.
It's the lesser known. It's more of the B-sides of the CIA's operations. Operation Bloodstone was a covert operation whereby the CIA sought out Nazis and collaborators living in Soviet-controlled areas to work undercover for U.S. intelligence inside the Soviet Union, Latin America, and Canada, as well as domestically within the United States.
Why specifically Nazis?
That's a great question. I think it was, well, here's what they said.
Were they just like, these guys are super efficient? Let's call up those guys.
Well, it's also like, I mean, this is the CIA is all about leverage. So it's like, hey, the whole world is hunting you down. We could give your name up to Mossad, or you could do this little thing for us.
Could be.
So Operation Bloodstone was proposed by the U.S. State Department. It was approved by the State Army, Navy, Air Force Commanding Committee, or SANAC. Jesus. On June 10, 1948, in the initial stages of the operation, a brief paper identified these anti-communist elements in non-Western Hemisphere countries outside of the Soviet orbit who had shown extreme fortitude in the face of the communist menace. So,
fortitude in the face of the communist menace. Is that the euphemism for killing Jews? Is that what just happened?
Yeah, boy, those Nazis got great fortitude. You know, I mean, boy, the Khmer Rouge. When I think of fortitude, I think of the Khmer Rouge. I think of Idi Amin. Those guys all have fortitude.
Look at the fucking fortitude of these guys to just keep killing so many Jews.
Just so, I mean, look, they went to it. They thought it out. They got train cars. They got oven. They really just like, this is how, if you think America's the good guys and you think Joe Biden is somehow better than Trump, or you think Trump is better than Biden, just know that we live in a horrific country with a history of songs telling slaves not to join the Brits because we'll kill them. And, you know, that's what America really is. Here's what else they put. They also, these guys with fortitude were, quote, they have demonstrated the know-how to counter communist propaganda and techniques to obtain control of mass movements. So don't care that you were a Nazi and that you did horrific acts of genocide. You're good at fighting commies because commies are bad for business. That's literally was the thinking. How insane is that? That sounds crazy, right? This sounds like...
So they snuck up to them like in a cafe and they were like, hey, commie fighter. They just grabbed them all up. Yeah, no, I think the U.S. in World War II, when you really look at it, I think the ruling elite there was a lot about the Nazis they respected.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
They were ultimately forced to come into the war to save Britain, and because we got attacked and everything. But I think behind closed doors, they were like, "Yeah, these Nazis, they got some fortitude."
They got the fortitude to fight a communist. You know, the communists that help us defeat the Nazis, the communists that lost 20-some million people.
Dude, that's one of those facts that somehow slipped through my fingers until I found out like a year ago. 20 million Russians killed fighting Nazis, and we lost something like 250,000, and yet we see...
The specific numbers are America lost 419,000 people.
Okay, 419,000.
But 4,000 of them were Pearl Harbor. The rest of them were soldiers over there. But those 4,000, only a handful of them were civilians. So we didn't lose any civilians. The 20 million of Russia, it's about 3 or 4 million soldiers, military people, and then the rest were civilians. Just to give you some perspective on how awful it was.
Well, a lot of I know that they did get to the point where like it was just like anyone can grab a gun. So they're civilians trying to fight. Yeah.
Right. But there also was the Stalingrad blockade that starved people for a winter.
Yeah.
Like,
and
they
but like 20, they lose 20 million and we lose, it was a half of a percent of our population back in that time.
Right.
And they lose 20 million. And yet we run around saying we won World War II. And oh yeah, I think the Russians did something too.
Right. Thanks for helping, but now you're the bad guy. And we're going to hire Nazis to infiltrate your countries.
Yeah.
Like how... It's so insane. I didn't know. I literally didn't know this till I visited Russia last year. A year ago, I went to Russia, and I asked, and I found all this out. I was like, "What? They had female snipers. I mean, it was just like I heard the bombing, and when I was in St. Petersburg, which was Stalingrad, they were like, it was horrific. Everybody had a story. It would literally be like, Lee. If it's like, oh, we would all have stories like, oh, I remember my grandmother telling me when they bombed Chicago and, she didn't have food for months, that's the stories that they all have.
The story would be like, my grandmother remembers when she was 7 years old and her dad pulled her aside and said, I'm headed out there. If I die, take care of your younger brother.
Yes.
And I was 7, like crazy shit.
Yeah. It'd be like, I remember we had to go dig in the trash cans and we'd find a dead soldier. And if they had food rations in their pack, we would take that and that's how we would survive. Like it would be like horrific stories like that. Yep. And then the other thing, when I talk to people in Russia, I go, what's another thing? I go, you guys always say you won the Cold War. You didn't win the Cold War. We were done with communism and we got fed up with it and internally said, we're done with this. You guys act like we did this. Like we were fed up internally. Like you take credit for ending.
Well, I mean, the Soviet Union collapsed and we put in a capitalist, Yeltsin, and
who's drunk, who's an alcoholic.
Well, listen, they all are. But yeah, we put in Yeltsin. We bragged about it on the cover of Time magazine or whatever, and yeah, it collapsed and became capitalism. So that we were done with the Cold War because it wasn't the Soviet Union anymore.
Right. But we take credit for that.
But now we're back. But now we're back into it.
Good. So that's Operation Bloodstone, which is the stepbrother, the lesser known of Operation Paperclip, which is where we took Nazi scientists and used them for our space program and whatever else. But Operation...
Listen, Nazis are really good to have in your back pocket when you need them.
They're very versatile. Like this, another thing, like there's no systemic racism in America. We hired Nazis. We fought them in a war. Like there's 400,000 dead Americans. Many of them were killed by Nazis, but hey, the smart ones.
This actually could be a whole another segment of government secrets, but the companies that continued to operate in Nazi Germany or worked with the Nazis, like IBM, did their systems or whatever. And then Fanta was a new name that Coca-Cola came up with so that they could basically keep operating in Nazi Germany because you couldn't, the sanctions and everything, you couldn't keep, exporting Coke products and things to Nazis. To Germany. And so they were like, well, let's just keep selling soda. We'll just give it a new name, Fanta. So like the Fanta is basically the Nazi Coke.
Enjoy a grape flavored Nazi Coke, everybody. So yeah, that's it. Operation Bloodstone, with a fun title for starters. And something you didn't know, and a government secret that I just learned about, and hopefully you learned and our audience learned about it. So that's it for GovSeeks Ep 7. Put it in the books, Lee.
It's all done, man. It is done. And I thank you all for joining us. And I'm going to head out while Graham keeps chatting with you.
Where can people find you online?
I've been doing a bunch of Moment of Clarity videos on various topics at youtube.com/Moment of Clarity. So everybody should head over to that channel later and check that out. And my website's leecamp.com. You should be able to find all the shit there.
Nice. And of course, GrahamElwood.com for all my stuff. I have the Vigilante Volume 2, The Dark Knight. I only made 50. They're numbered. They're collector's items. There's only about 20 left. I ship using the post office because I'm not a monster. And
how do you find one of those blue boxes? Do you chase them down the road as they load them onto tow trucks? Or
no, I just go to my local post office. I did it today. It's very easy to do. It's so easy to print. I print the labels at home. They have barcodes.
Wait, but I heard the post office, Fox News told me the post office doesn't work. And if you go there, you can't send things.
Yeah, and then right after that was an ad for FedEx. So, yeah, so I ship exclusively using the post office, and I will till I'm dead or they close it down. So go to GrahamElwood.com, get all my merch. It's all on sale, and it all has free shipping.
Nice.
Like, share, and subscribe this at iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you're listening to Government Secrets. Subscribe, download, whatever the thing is, and share it on your social media.
You know what I do to ship my merch is I go to the public pool and I find some children and I tell them to go by their nearest public school and borrow some pencils that are public and write out the address and then send it in the post office.
That sounds like a great plan.
It's very public.
It's very, very public. Way to do that. Well, thank you, Lee. Government Secrets, episode 7.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Graham.
Bye-bye. Hey everyone, great ways to support the show are go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood, where you get bonus content for as little as $2 a month, or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. That's the future. Also, GrahamElwood.com, where all my merchandise is on sale and ships exclusively with the United States Post Office. Like my Vigilante Volume 2, The Dark Knight. We only made 50 of them. They're going fast. Go to GrahamElwood.com to support the show. I'm on Venmo and PayPal, P.O. Box, all of that, GrahamElwood.com.